The very act of adoption is built upon loss. For the birth parents, the loss of their biological offspring, the relationship that could have been, a very part of themselves. For the adoptive parents, the loss of giving birth to a biological child, the child whose face will never mirror theirs. And for the adopted child, the loss of the birth parents, the earliest experience of belonging and acceptance. To deny adoption loss is to deny the emotional reality of everyone involved. An adoptee's wounds are hardly ever talked about. They are the proverbial pink elephant in the living room. Dr. David M. Brodzinski and Dr. Marshall D. Schechter, a psychologist and psychiatrist specializing in adoption, say in their insightful book, Being Adopted, The Lifelong Search for Self, that loss for the adoptee is unlike other losses we have come to expect in a lifetime, such as death and divorce. Adoption is more pervasive, less socially recognized, and more profound. Grief is the natural response to loss, and those touched by adoption must be given permission to revisit emotionally the place of loss, feel the pain, scream the anger, cry the tears, and then allow themselves to be loved by others. If left unresolved, this grief can and often does sabotage the strongest of families and the deepest potential within the adopted child. It can undermine the most sincere parental commitment and force adoptees to suffer in private, choosing either rebellion or conformity as a mode of relating. Since adoption loss is somewhat difficult to understand, I will use the gardening technique of grafting to illustrate not only adoption loss, but a variety of adoption dynamics. A lesson from nature. A grafted tree, magnificent to behold, one of a kind, contrary to nature. Luxuriant leaves and intricate roots, loaded with horticultural challenges for a gardener, but ultimately yielding a tree with unparalleled beauty. The adopted child, magnificent to behold, one of a kind, biological features often contrary to yours, intricate roots that need to be healed, loaded with behavioral challenges for parents, but ultimately yielding a life of unparalleled beauty. How do you react to all of that? Some might be saying, yes, 1,000 times yes. This describes our child. She is one of a kind, and we are so glad she is ours. Others may be saying, you'd better believe our adopted child presents us with challenges. He can peel wallpaper off a wall at the speed of a shining bullet, make holes in the drywall of his room, be verbally and physically rebellious, tear up anything in his room, and then collapse in a pool of tears. Wherever you are in the spectrum of possible reactions, believe me, you are not alone. As the editor of a national adoption newsletter, Jewel Among Jewels Adoption News, I receive many letters from adoptive parents who are searching for answers. How can I most effectively parent my adopted child? What are some of the obstacles I may encounter? Why is my child acting out? Am I doing something wrong? I also receive many letters from adults who were adopted as children, searching for help in dealing with their long-buried past. Also, on a personal level, I can understand your questions and concerns. When I was adopted 53 years ago, at 10 days of age, my parents' desire for me was just the same as every other adoptive parent today. They longed to see me thrive and live up to my fullest potential. They also longed for that parent-child intimacy that lays the foundation for all other healthy relationships in life. If only we had known years ago what I have learned in the past several years about adoption.